Alright, all you Streetlight Crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans who are still up for tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to talk about what happened during the final Raw for this year from the Thunderdome in Tampa Bay, Florida. Still can't believe this year is almost over, but really glad it is. And Monday Night Raw would kick off with none other than the WWE Champion himself, Drew McIntyre, not only thanking the fans for making him the chosen one in their eyes and helping him launch his career straight to the WWE Championship, but would get straight to business by talking to Sheamus about what he did last week after he vouched for him and trusted him to not lay his hands on Keith Lee during the match. Only for Sheamus to say, I didn't lay a hand on him during the match. After the match was over, was fair game. Only for Keith Lee to come out after Sheamus was gonna lay claim that he was gonna be the one to earn the #1 contendership shot to fight him on the first Raw of the new year. Only for Keith Lee to say, well, we won the match and apparently you got mad for some reason and decided to kick me in the face. So after I beat the crap out of you tonight and make you apologize, I'm gonna go fight against Drew McIntyre for that championship belt. Only for them to get in a back and forth argument for Drew McIntyre to apparently have enough stroke around there to make the first match of the night Keith Lee versus Sheamus for the winner to earn an opportunity at the WWE Championship on the first night of Monday Night Raw. But before that match could begin, Drew McIntyre would say, well, no matter who wins tonight, I'm gonna still be WWE Champion after that night. Only for Keith Lee to say, what did you just say? And then 2 bro kicks later would get woken up to fight in this match. Because despite getting kicked in the face twice, folks, Keith Lee would come back during this match with not only a one-arm spine buster for a near fall, but would also do a Mike Knox clothesline for a near fall during this match, and would even pounce that head right off the shoulders of Sheamus right from the top rope during this match as well. And would even try to avoid the fate of the 10 beats of the Bowdrin, only suffering 6 beats of that said Bowdrin from Sheamus, and Sheamus would even be able to hit white noise on Keith Lee, still for a near fall. But ultimately, this match would come to an end again when Keith Lee, who was able to avoid not 1 but 2 bro kicks, would be able to catch Sheamus out of midair and hit him with a spirit bomb after hitting him with a grizzly magnum in the process, for Keith Lee to ring in the new year with a title shot via pinfall. And not to mention a little bit of revenge along the way after getting bro kicked 3 times in less than a week. And after the match was over backstage later on that night, Drew McIntyre would say, I'm excited to see Keith Lee bring it to the next level because a lot of people were waiting for him to go to this next level. But you can beat anybody any day of the week with that next level power, but not Drew McIntyre. And I would add in not Killer Cross either, but that's NXT business, so we're just gonna move on to the next match, folks, which would see none other than Grand Metalik going one-on-one against The Miz. And The Miz acting like somebody who got socks for Christmas, or more or less like the little kid in the Spider-Man 2 video game who was crying about his balloon, to the equivalent of his Money in the Bank contract going away, only for him to not have his head in the game during this match, because not only he would suffer the wrath of a La Mahi straw during this match for a near fall, but also a victory roll and even a roll-up. The King of the Ropes doing every sort of pinfall he could do to try to take out The Miz, who would finally snap out of it after Grand Metalik would jump on him on the outside of the ring, only to kick him out of the skies, and then to just beat the crap out of him on the ground, try to get him in a camel clutch of sorts, saying, I'm Mr. Money in the Bank! I'm Mr. Money in the Bank! Only for him to realize that he was a loser tonight because he would suffer the wrath of a rolling Yoshi tonic for Grand Metalik to win this match via pinfall. And The Miz getting barely little to no offense during this match. So so him losing that Money in the Bank briefcase really did hurt him. But later on that night, Adam Pearce, who felt sorry for him and realizing that the rules are the rules, would decide to give him back his Money in the Bank briefcase, which would cause him to go dancing down the stairs almost the same way as one of my friends did during their, I guess, senior year project for WJSB, doing the Wang Chung dance down the stairs. And not to mention doing the can-can and apparently the hammer dance as well, amongst other crazy dances from the 90s and the 90s. Well, I guess all is right in the world, even though technically he shouldn't have gotten back that briefcase. But what do I know? And besides justice being restored in the eyes of The Miz, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see Shayna Baszler going one-on-one against Dana Brooke. And during this match, action would go back and forth, including Shayna Baszler getting hit with a nasty modified version of a corkscrew neckbreaker, aka the Moonlight Drive if you're John Morrison, for a near fall, and even a near count-out victory by Shayna Baszler due to the Karafuda clutch on the outside of the ring, and even the Karafuda clutch on Mandy Rose on the outside, only for this match to come to an emphatic end after a nasty and disgusting by the submission magician Tiger knee to the face of one Dana Brooke, and even the Karafuda clutch in the center of the ring after that Michinoku cradle shock driver would fail for the Queen of Spades to win this match via submission. I was about to say pinfall, but no, she tapped out. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would be none other than the phenomenal AJ Styles going one-on-one against Elias. Now, the only reason this match took place, folks, is because, well, let's just say because AJ Styles, who was trying to get back his title shot after The Miz screwed him out of the championship match at TLC with that cash-in, would have almost knocking on the door of Elias for playing his guitar too loud, only for them to settle their differences in the ring. And how would that go, folks? Well, it would go phenomenally. And why do I say that, folks? Because not only you would see AJ Styles hitting a phenomenal dropkick during this match, and you would even see Elias hitting his stripped away for a near fall, and even pulling out yet another year-ending Tiger knee to the face of one AJ Styles for a near fall. But ultimately, this match would come to an emphatic end after AJ Styles would see that Elias took his eye off the ball and aimed at almost at one point, which would cause him to backpedal far enough to get knocked in the mouth with a phenomenal forearm for the phenomenal one to end this year on a high note with a victory against Elias via pinfall. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see Mustafa Ali going one-on-one against Ricochet. This old gag again, Maestro? Seriously? Really? Well, Ali, who still wants Ricochet to be a part of Retribution, would pull out all the stops during this match, including using Mace, T-Bar, and the rest of the Foot Clan ninjas from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which would actually see Mace pulling out Mustafa Ali out of the ring when Ricochet had the match won with the kickback. But unfortunately for the Foot Clan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they would get their comeuppings with not only T-Bar getting hit with a nasty version of a leaping DDT to the outside of the ring, springboard style mind you, only for Slapjack to get hit in the stomach with a drop kick in mid-flight and Mace suffering the wrath of a satellite DDT, all the while Mustafa Ali got drop kicked into the ring post, and when it looked like Mustafa Ali was gonna get his comeuppings with a giant shooting star press from Ricochet. Unfortunately, Mustafa Ali would get his knees up, next thing you know, a Koji clutch and a pass out later, and once again, Retribution gets one over on Ricochet via submission. And after the match was over, Mustafa Ali would pick up the microphone and try to get an answer out of Ricochet to join Retribution, only for him to say no, hit Mustafa Ali with a recoil, and then go up the ramp saying, just because you lost your convictions doesn't mean I have to lose mine. I'm gonna do things my way, and I don't care what you say. I mean, he said something else along the lines of, I'm not joining Retribution ever, but yeah, what we said sounded a little bit better. And besides that, folks, the next match that would take place on Monday Night Raw after Rico Suave himself, Angel Garza, would try to give Charlie Caruso a rose, only for it to get stomped out by R-Truth and the rest of the train of people trying to go for the 24/7 championship, would see none other than Nia Jax going one-on-one against Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair looking for a little bit of revenge after what happened to her almost 6 months ago when her arm and shoulder got destroyed by Nia Jax, and would do so during this match by not only kicking the Irresistible Force off her feet and even drop kicking her to the outside of the ring for Nia Jax to still be on her feet. And once she got back inside the ring, would try to do the figure 8 submission hold, only for her head to bounce off the bottom turnbuckle and for Nia Jax to try to go for a pinfall after that for near fall, and would even hit the Queen City's own with a nasty, disgusting sit-out powerbomb for the screen to go black for a near fall. And then this match would come to an end that again after the Queen would find her footing, take Nia Jax off her feet for a third time, and for the third time tried to go for the figure 8 leg lock, almost lock it in, only for Shayna Baszler, who was getting in a fight with Asuka on the outside of the ring, actually sending Asuka over the announce table to apply the Karafuda clutch to the Queen City's own for the Queen to win this match via disqualification. And after the disqualification, while the Karafuda clutch was still applied, Nia Jax would go after the leg of Charlotte Flair, only for Asuka to come from out of nowhere from the desk that she was put over. And yeah, thanks, Maestro, she came from the side of the desk and would decide to help out her tag team partner and fend off the two people who would declare themselves in the Women's Royal Rumble match for this year. So not only we will see Nia Jax, and we will also see none other than Shayna Baszler in the Women's Royal Rumble for this year. And I got a feeling Charlotte and a whole bunch of other women are going to join in on that. But at the same time, is there really 30 women on the roster to be a part of this magical event? We'll have to find out in another couple of weeks. But with that answer still lingering in the air, and speaking of people declaring themselves in the Royal Rumble, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than the Hurt Business of Bobby Lashley, MVP, Cedric Alexander, and of course, Shelton Benjamin going one-on-one against the New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, joined up with the Hardy Bros of Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle in an 8-man tag team match. And by the way, folks, this would be the main event of the evening and the last match on Monday Night Raw. But before this match could begin, besides Matt Riddle still coming up with tag team names, and not to mention the New Day celebrating the fact that Big E would win the Intercontinental Championship on Christmas Day last week on Friday Night SmackDown, we would see on the opposing side for the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley officially declaring himself in the Royal Rumble and saying that he's gonna win it all. And remember the last time, Bobby Lashley, when you said you were gonna win the Royal Rumble and you got eliminated by Seth Rollins, which caused you to have a temper tantrum and spinebuster Seth Rollins to the table, where he would spend about 20 to 30 minutes outside to only win the Royal Rumble and go on to beat Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, be careful calling your shot, Lashley. But at this point, folks, calling his shot during this match was right on point, because despite the team of the New Day and the Hardy Bros working like a well-oiled machine, even seeing the Hardy Bros pulling out the broetry in motion, and even the New Day bringing back the Unicorn Stampede with a cardiac arrest twist, we would also see, and a very lovely tribute by Xavier Woods, a nasty version of Luke Harper's Decapitator, and even his clothesline for the announcers to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. and even a swanton bomb on Cedric Alexander. But unfortunately, this happy moment would get broken up immediately by Bobby Lashley, who would decide to throw everybody out of the ring, and during the chaos would finally get his hands on the legal man of this match in the form of Jeff Hardy. And when Jeff Hardy tried to go for his jawbreaker, would get caught in the Hurt Lock during this match for Jeff Hardy to once again, for the third, I do believe fourth week in a row, to tap out to the Hurt Lock for the Hardy Bros in the New Day, despite their tribute to Brody Lee, to unfortunately lose this match via submission. But after the match was over and the Hurt Business decided to stay open for extra hours for a little bit of overtime work to try to take out the New Day and the Hardy Bros, would end up paying for it, seeing Cedric Alexander getting tossed into the steps, Shelton Benjamin getting kicked in the gut, but most importantly, for one last time for 2020, we would see Bobby Lashley eat a nasty final flash, or what we like to call around here, Tiger knee right to the face to close out the final match of Monday Night Raw for this year. But Monday Night Raw would not be over, folks, because what we forgot to mention and what we wanted to save for last due to the ridiculousness of it all would be Alexa Bliss bringing back Alexa's Playground to challenge Randy Orton after he would destroy the Firefly Funhouse, and not to mention kick Huskies the Pig off the TV set, and even take Mercy the Buzzard and throw it right directly into Abby the Witch, basically destroying the Firefly Funhouse. And then that would raise the ire of Alexa Bliss to the point where she would wear all black like if she was going to a funeral, take out a gasoline can, pour gasoline toward Randy Orton, toward herself in the center, almost reminding me of the end of the Blair Witch 2. And if you didn't see the Blair Witch 2, don't worry, I saved you at least an hour and 35 minutes of trouble. And then we would see Alexa Bliss not only call Randy Orton a bitch for not setting her on fire, but then would see the lights go out, Randy Orton picking up the Are You Afraid of the Dark seasons 1 through how many they've had thus far match, and then tried to set Alexa Bliss on fire to grant her wish, but to see Raw fade to black and end for this week and end off this terrible year with a will he, won't he set Alexa Bliss on fire. Right. And with that said, folks, I think that wraps it up for Monday Night Raw for 2020. So without further ado, folks, let's head back to that music as I grab a glass of water. And when we return, we'll be back with more of the Tuesday Night Special right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned.